what is cinema verite? So cinema verite, the word itself means, so cinema means film, as we all probably know, and verite is French for truth. It originated in the 1960s. It refers to a style of film movement characterized by the absence of stabilizing equipment, so a tripod. So, and it's often used to heighten emotion or convey fast-moving action. But the term itself, cinema verite, originated with like a style of documentary or mockumentary filmmaking, because it kind of gave more authenticity to the piece if it was all shaky as opposed to super professional and lit up in a studio, because it kind of gave the impression that it was more authentic and that it was more truthful. Because I think the idea behind it was if it was on a super polished, like in a film studio, then whoever's being interviewed probably had time to write a script or to prepare their answers, and that there's a lot more preparation that goes into it. So a lot of the, I suppose what it means is that with polish comes lies, basically, is the thinking behind cinema verite. Cinema verite is also a great way for filmmakers to get around budget restrictions. But if you lean into the strengths of cinema verite, it can really strengthen a film. So like Blair Witch is great because obviously it's all made up and it's scripted and they've come up with the story, but when you watch it, you can't help but feel that it is more, like it's more gripping in the sense that you feel like it is the truth. So yeah, cinema verite is often used in documentaries or mockumentaries. Because it's unpolished, it kind of insinuates that whatever you're seeing is truthful and not fabricated. And the goal of this technique is to capture the reality of a person, a moment, or an event without any rearrangement for the camera. And so this type of cinema is usually concerned with notions of truth and reality in film. But I think it's important to understand cinema verite in the sense that even though it seems more truthful because it is so much more unpolished, as we've seen in the examples that we've just listed, you can still completely make it up. So like it's just a good thing to be aware of, that things can still be constructed for you, even if it looks like it's, real and authentic, if that makes sense. I think it's really important within media to kind of interrogate what the truth is, and that the filmmaker is always trying to like influence your perspective. It's not really as important for things like films where you know that you're watching a fiction, but with documentaries, it's also important to realize that documentaries are always made to be biased and to convince you of a certain thing. So yeah, examples of cinema verite, as we talked about before, we've got the Blair Witch at the top there, and then at the bottom we also have the amazing, oh god, I've forgotten the name of it now, what we do in the shadows. But it's also used in TV shows, usually for comedy, but also to again sort of create that authenticity. So we've got The Office, and we've also got Parks and Rec. It's a pretty common trope as well within cinema verite to have that little start card thing. You're like, yes, this is definitely real and authentic. What do you call it? Video that you're seeing, and here's like the reason why we were able to film it and all that sort of stuff. Because like at the beginning of Blair Witch, it's a similar thing. They're like, we found this camera in the middle of the woods a year after these kids went missing. In The Office, they don't have like a card thing, but they explain at the beginning, oh, this is a documentary filming The Office and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, obviously these are like fiction sort of films with using cinema verite, but I think they're the most fun examples to explore cinema verite being used. Cinema verite is definitely, like when it's used for theory, it's definitely a great example of like intellectual snobbery sort of thing, because it just means handheld, really. But that doesn't sound as fancy or as smart when you use it. So, but I think that's why as well it's so cool to learn, because you sound a lot smarter than you are. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something today about cinema verite.